Hello and welcome to Will Watches. This is Dark, Season 3, Episode 7. We are at the penultimate episode of the show, and I have no idea where these final two episodes are going. Last episode, we had the apocalypse happening in World 2, and from Adam's interpretation, he thinks that's just wiped everything out of existence, potentially. Last episode was a really great kind of wrap up of everything. It feels like a lot of loose ends were tied up. You know, we had the unknown going in and starting the accident. It just tied a lot of things together, and then from now I'm imagining this is going to be following Marta after Magnus and Francesca showed up and took her away. I imagine that's where we are going from here, because I can't really see, you know, what kind of the next steps in the story are, you know what I mean? So before we jump into this, be sure to check out the Patreon page. Over there you can find 1 week early access, so you can get the finale right now. You can also find polls, so you can vote for what's next. And you can find a full-length timer-based version of this, where you just sync up your own footage and you can watch along with me. So yeah, let's just jump right in.
Was ist Realität?
Oh, okay. Little animation.
Eine einzige? Oder existieren mehrere Realitäten?
3 universes there.
Erwin Schrödinger hat für diese Frage ein überaus interessantes Gedankenexperiment konstruiert.
Oh yeah. Could you say Jonas is a Schrödinger? Because there's the two.
Sobald ein radioaktives Atom im Inneren der Stahlkammer zerfällt,
This is cool.
Hammer aus, der die Ampulle mit dem Gift.
Yeah, you could say Jonas and even Marta are Schrödingers. It's like each world, one's alive and one isn't.
Ist das Atom gleichzeitig zerfallen und nicht zerfallen?
Who is this? I thought it sounded like Tannhaus. Unless it's an alternate world Tannhaus.
Die Eigenschaften tot und lebendig existieren im Mikrokosmos also gleichzeitig.
Simultaneously exists and doesn't exist, alive and dead.
Leben und Tod auch für die Welt des Makrokosmos gelten würde.
Okay.
Und wenn ja, wie viele unterschiedliche Realitäten
Are there multiple?
einander...
Warte! Du darfst da nicht rein!
Okay. So that's the one where Jonas survives and stays in this world.
Er will dir nicht helfen. Er wird dich töten. In der Zukunft. Er will die Apokalypse nicht verhindern. Alle werden sterben.
Marta and Bartosz got to get out of there quick as well, though.
Du musst ihr vertrauen.
Yeah, even more context to this. Okay, so this is another Tannhaus? 74 though, okay.
Dem Menschen fällt es schwer, den Tod zu akzeptieren. Er hält fest an Dingen, die längst vergangen sind.
So, this is... I'm a bit confused here.
Ein Weg, die Zeit zurückzudrehen, den Tod ins Gegenteil zu verkehren.
Is it the same Tannhaus actor? And it was like his kids that passed away.
Aber wenn Zeit relativ ist und
Yeah, I think it is the same actor, okay.
was längst tot geglaubt ist. Und eine neue Realität zu erschaffen, in der
Okay, a new reality, okay, yeah. Because that was the whole thing of one of the older Tannhauses. That was cool. We'd never seen something like that before. Is that Noah? Okay, Noah and Elizabeth, they're gonna try and get through somewhere.
Das Paradies ist frei von Schmerz und Leid.
So this is where he's like bringing her into the Sukmandas ideology. Erasing all pain. Okay, 1890. So he's been here like experimenting for 2 years now. Yeah, it's like 1/2 stabilize. I would not climb that while it's still active. Yeah, what is he thinking? And now it's exposed to everything. I mean, are we seeing the transformation into Adam? That's one more scar added to him.
Es wird funktionieren. Ich habe gesehen, dass es funktioniert. In der Zukunft.
Yeah, he doesn't know he fixes it.
Das Paradies? Wir stecken hier seit 2 Jahren fest.
2 years, at some point, do you just accept it and start building a life here? Oh, okay, yeah. What time period is this?
Hallo?
Hello, Silja.
Ich wollte sie nicht erschrecken. Manchmal glaube ich, es hört hier nie auf zu regnen.
Yeah, it's always raining in this timeline, isn't it?
Ich bin...
Or time point. There we go. So they've been working on this for a while as well here. Oh, it's like not even reaching through it. Got like a force field. Okay. What does that mean? Oh, got a bit of a moustache growing. Things actually seem a bit brighter here, even though this is apocalyptic. And I just love the yellow. That pop of colour. This is the one that still doesn't know that martyr. I mean, there are martyrs out there. Oh, it's like growing through. That's great with the light coming in though. He's just reminiscing in all these places where people die. I mean, we know he doesn't, but to have those thoughts in the first place, he just thinks he's stuck here. But I mean, he knows that he's not. Does he think this could break the cycle of things? Because then the stranger and Adam would never be a thing. Something's going to happen. The rope's going to snap, or... Yeah. I mean, great timing. Hanno here, Noah here. He must ensure that things happen in some ways. Is that the gun? Like the gun that he has that he kills Marta with as well? In 66 years time for him? He physically can't kill himself. What?
Kannst dir nicht das Leben nehmen, weil es dein älteres Ich bereits gibt.
So it just doesn't work mechanically. Wow, okay, that's cool.
Dann wird Adam uns ins Paradies führen.
But does this version of Noah know that Adam kills the older version?
Bevor du mich verrätst.
Yeah. We become friends before you betray me. So he's going through this, but you can see the sadness like on his face. Oh, 04 now. So it feels like we're really like accelerating through the cycle maybe till we get back to the cycle. Silja giving birth. Oh, a bit of a beard on on Bartosz as well. Is it Hanno or Agnes? Okay, Hanno.
Hallo.
So I was wondering who chooses the name.
Das Schicksal spielt ein grausames Spiel mit uns.
Is Bartosz recognizing that at all?
So unerreichbar es auch erscheinen mag, über die Dauer eines ganzen Lebens zu verfolgen.
Yeah, seeing the transition.
Ein Hindernis ist groß genug, ihn in seinem Wollen aufzuhalten.
Into the townhouse we know. They're like transitioned into the other actors now. Well, Noah has. Claudia hasn't. Jonas has. They finally got it again. Yeah, so like Adam/Jonas worked together with Claudia for ages then.
Alles wiederholt sich. Aber wenn ich zurückreisen kann, dann kann ich alles verändern. Ein älteres Ich hat es schon mal versucht. Aber dieses Mal ist alles...
It's always just like, I'll do it different, but will you? And Elizabeth pregnant with Charlotte. Just so satisfying to see all of these things like tied up, you know?
Sie darf noch nicht funktionieren. Du hältst den Knoten in deiner Welt aufrecht und ich in meiner.
So it's both working together, yeah.
Ich habe mich gefragt, hast du sie jemals getroffen? Mein älteres Ich.
Yeah, what would the older self say?
Ich kann einfach nicht glauben, dass sie damit gemeint hat, dass ich ihr Leiden auf immer wiederholen soll.
Okay.
Ein Weg, dass Regina lebt.
Wirklich lebt. In meiner. Oder
Not an evil world. Yeah. There's Marta's world. Jonas's world. Is there a Claudia's world? So she kills herself. Again, the simultaneous dead and alive in the same... You know, they're in the same place. Simultaneously dead and alive. So yeah, Claudia has known about the other world for that long. Keeping Jonas in the dark and actually having a way to travel there now. And she's gonna just take up the mantle of that other Claudia. Okay. Will Eva be able to tell? She doesn't know how much that other Claudia knows though. Can she really blend in that well?
Du hast Claudia nicht mitgebracht.
Noah beobachtet sie.
Does Eva already know all of this though, you know? Very much feels like Eva knows something's off.
Sie versteht, warum es notwendig ist. Warum alles wieder so passieren muss.
So is she just gonna pretend to be both from here on out?
Du musst jetzt stark sein, Hanno. Auch für deinen Vater.
So we lost Celia in childbirth for Agnes. And that's the other actor for Bartosz. But does Bartosz abandon them at some point? Because they were with that woman before, weren't they?
Sie wollte, dass sie Agnes heißt.
There we go. And her eye is still okay here. We still need to find out what happens to that.
Ist frei von Schmerz und Leid. Alles.
Okay. This is where the Charlotte and Elizabeth went to. Okay, yep. Show up at Tannhaus. Take her to Tannhaus. Baby Charlotte. And she knows for this other self, this is the last time she'll see her. This must be so surreal for the older Charlotte as well.
Die Passage wird sich öffnen. Und dann werden wir dort sein.
She still seems so, like innocent here. She's not like worn and battered like the older Elizabeth that we know. I feel like that's all to come, the trauma from losing your own child like that. We're seeing it right here. Is he gonna see them like blip away or something?
Wo ist sie? Charlotte. Ich habe mich all die Jahre gefragt, was damit gemeint hat.
The betrayal. He thinks this is the betrayal. I mean, which one is it? Is it the death or is it this?
Ich weiß nicht, wovon du sprichst.
He knows he can't kill him though.
Ich weiß es nicht.
He might not know if it's that Charlotte Doppler or if it's Charlotte that's with Gustav Tannhaus. Or I think that's the right Tannhaus. Yeah, I don't know if he knows or not.
Ich wünsche dir alles Leid der Welt.
But he still sticks around with him for a bit, doesn't he? Well, that's the manipulation, isn't it? A way to find Charlotte again. It's so crazy thinking back to the scene where Noah actually finds out.
Finde sie. Ich bringe sie zurück.
Yeah, this is like almost like where he becomes this more intimidating Noah that we know. It's all a hunt for his daughter.
All die Wege, die wir in unserem Leben einschlagen, jede Entscheidung, die wir treffen, geleitet von dem, was wir tief im Inneren.
Okay, so he's been doing this secretly all along as well. You know? More time travel stuff to do with that whole family. It's not long till Jonas will show up here, isn't it? It's 1912. Or was it 1920? No, yeah, it was 1920, I think.
Hannah.
Okay. Silja. So she had that scar from really young.
Ich suche Jonas.
Hat sich verändert.
Does he look a lot more like Adam now? Yeah. He's got the painting. So Silja needs to be thrown into the future at some point as well. What act is that? I think that is the actor for The Stranger. Or is that even Louis Hoffman under there? No, yeah, I think it's the actor for The Stranger.
Silja. Sie ist deine Schwester.
Okay, yeah.
Wie hast du uns gefunden?
Da war diese alte Frau. Sie stand einfach vor unserer Tür.
Claudia?
Eva.
Or Eva, okay. He doesn't know a thing about her though, does he, this version?
Und dass du mich suchst.
He's just so emotionless.
Das ist alles meine Schuld. Ich habe alles kaputt gemacht.
Oh, he does have a tear in his eye.
Ich bin hier, Jonas.
We haven't seen Hannah with Sigmundus though, have we?
Bartosz, mach ihn die Kammer zurecht.
Okay. This is where Silja ends up in the future then. And he sends Hannah with her, maybe? But does Silja have a brother as well, Boris? It must be so hard to see her, for her to see him in this state.
Silja. Sie gehört nicht hierher.
Yeah, he already knows. He needs to put her in the right place. Yeah. Okay, I could kind of see that coming. Your own mother, though. Is he even strangling her? It looks like his hands are over her face. After all of that, that's the fate of Hannah. I thought he might have sent both of them to the future and then just something happens to Hannah after the apocalypse.
Ich will dir ein Geheimnis zeigen.
It's kind of creepy though, isn't it? Ooh. Yeah, that does make sense though, because Noah and Noah do interact a lot. Yeah, because it's in this, like, in that Noah and Agnes were. So did Bartosz abandon them with her? I'm forgetting her name, the bartender here.
Ich habe mich gefragt, wann du kommst.
Yeah, now it's the other actor for Adam.
Du hattest recht. Claudia. Sie hat uns alle belogen.
She was manipulating.
Du wirst dein Paradies finden. Und Helge wird dir dabei helfen.
The pieces all have to be in their place. It is just so satisfying to see everything, how it all fits in, you know? It's like a puzzle connecting everything together.
Aber dieses Mal wird es der letzte Zyklus sein.
Yeah, we're back at the cycle again, being at 1920.
Der Apparat. Wird ihn reparieren.
Yeah, he goes to Tan House. If it was like, you know, you could just pick up the show from the beginning, I wonder by the end of the next episode, can you just pick up the show from the beginning and it all happens again, the cycle all happens again. Oh, and this is where she rips it out. Are we getting another montage?
Schon vor Wochen ist in der Kleinstadt Winden ein 15-jähriger...
Yeah, is all just gonna be footage from before that we've already seen? Yes, all happening exactly how it's supposed to. The end of the cycle. Oh, this is so great. Just seeing it all again. It was like, at this point, you could almost just rewatch the show. This feels like this could be the end of the show again. Like, the end of last episode felt like it could be the end of the show. This feels like it could be the end of the show, recapping everything. It's all a cycle. Yeah, Adam is technically uncle to Agnes and Noah.
So schließt sich der Kreis.
This music is great. Great song choice. Showing all of the death. Is this where Bartosz and Marta went? Yeah, okay.
Ist es nicht eigenartig, dass wir die größte Abneigung den Menschen entgegenbringen, die uns am ähnlichsten sind? Ich war mein Leben lang der Überzeugung, dieser Moment hier könnte sich niemals so wieder...
But it always has.
Du und ich. Wir teilen diesen Schmerz. Wir tragen die gleichen Narben.
Oh, she's just gonna give it to her. Wow. Yeah, I was always wondering how that came to be, but it's just there. Just that.
Eine Erinnerung.
And then again. Yeah, choosing Adam is choosing death. So, what exactly happens after it? Okay, but that's almost like she could have been thrown somewhere. Yeah, it seems like it's thrown him off. He's still here.
Hallo Jonas.
Okay. Yeah, so that hasn't destroyed everything. He is still there. Okay, so that was Dark, Season 3, Episode 7. Only one episode to go from here, which is crazy. I think I'm just going to skip right to the end, discuss the ending there. So we had, so we had, again, phenomenal montage showing what happened. It's just recapping the whole show essentially. We're seeing everything that has happened and that's always happened, a cycle again. This episode was kind of like an accelerated cycle, just almost catching us up on filling in those gaps with like Celia and Hannah, her fate, and Noah and everyone and Charlotte. But at the end there, we're back again at the end of last episode where Adam believes what he's doing there will cause everything to end, take them to paradise, cause both the timelines to stop. But it didn't. And then Claudia shows up and we see, the portal, it like wraps itself around Marta and then flashes and disappears. And that is making me wondering, did something happen there? Did that send her? There was like a white, obviously the portal's like this black goo and it surrounds her, but like the last bit, there's a bit of a flash and we've seen the kind of white flashes are world hopping. Has that just taken Marta back to her origin world? Or has that taken her somewhere else? Because we have Claudia showing up here. And Claudia, this whole time it's always been Claudia's manipulating, she's manipulating the stranger, she's manipulating Jonas. Was she manipulating Adam as well into Adam believing this was his own free will, but actually it's in Claudia's best interest? Because we see what happened with Claudia this episode, her believing, is there a way to cause Regina to live, but it's like neither world, it's like a third world almost. And how I was saying like before, the show is constantly saying don't think of things in pairs, and is there like a third world that Claudia is trying to create? And this is actually part of that, and she had manipulated Adam. Adam believes this is all his own free will, but it's actually Claudia getting him to do this so that there will be another world where Regina will live. That's what it seems like to me. And it is, again, it's just always being Claudia manipulating, which is just crazy. Claudia's behind everything, maybe, because she was the one who ripped out the pages in the book. Did she do that on purpose? I mean, she obviously did it on purpose, but did she do it on purpose because she knew it would all lead to here? And then she kills the World 2 version of herself and kind of takes up that mantle and is living these parallel lives between the two worlds, pretending that she is obeying Eva when she isn't. And she was always just like acting in her own interests there with Eva. So what does this mean for the worlds? Because obviously Adam thought this would erase both, and it hasn't. So both worlds are still there. Obviously, World 2, the apocalypse, we saw it, it took out Magnus and Francesca. So what it is the apocalypse has still happened in them. So not much has changed, really. It's not like this has completely changed loads of things. It's still pretty much happening how it always was supposed to. Okay, let's just start from the beginning then. We start off with this like animation, the little explanation by Tannhaus. I was a bit confused with if it was actually Tannhaus at first or if it was like a Tannhaus from World 2. It's just because he looks slightly different from what I've seen of him before. He's there giving this speech about Schrodinger's cat, which I think a lot of us are familiar with how it can be simultaneously dead and alive, which very much mirrors a lot of things in this show. Marta from World 1 and then World 2, and like Jonas acts in a way like that as well, with the knot where he's caught in that loop where one he lives on and one he dies. That's a really cool metaphor that just fits like so perfectly for what's been happening this season, the Schrodinger's cat, and how things are happening in parallel where you can be simultaneously alive and dead. And then like with Claudia where she kills herself, like even in one world there's a simultaneous alive and dead version of yourself there, which is crazy. So that was really cool, getting the Schrodinger's cat metaphor. But then we see with Tannhaus, he's building a machine in the bunker, which we haven't seen any of that before. And it was even in 86 he was building it. So I'm really wondering about that, what that means for everything. Tannhaus has always been building something, been up to something else. And, you know, he's constantly looking at this photo of the family. So it's like he's trying things as well, trying to save someone. Is always with this show, it's like always trying to save someone. Tannhaus is trying to save them. We have Claudia, of course, trying to save Regina. Jonas at some points trying to save Marta. It's always, you know, trying to outdo death in a way, isn't it? Can you outdo your fate? Can you outwit death? There's a lot of characters who are trying to do that, trying to save their loved ones here. That's definitely one of like the main themes of the show. So I don't know how much that plays a part in it, because we haven't seen any of that before. You know, we've always seen him working on the time machine on like the portable one, but never this in the bunker. And what does he actually go on to do with that? I'm not quite sure. I just feel like I have no clue where this next episode is going. I feel like it is going in a direction of Claudia trying to make a new world to save Regina then, and it was revealed that she has been manipulating Adam this entire time into doing this for whatever reason she needs him to do this for. But like that's like super broad. What are the specifics of that? I don't know how that causes there to be a new world made. And then like with Tannhaus here, what are the consequences of this? Because this is something we haven't known about up until now. Yeah, I don't know what's going on there with Tannhaus, and like if he does do something here, does he save them and that changes things as well? Or does Claudia... have we seen Claudia? Yeah, we have seen Claudia and him interact. So is she manipulating him into doing that? So he goes and does that, and that creates another new world where they all live. And for some reason Claudia wants to do that, because maybe it's just coincidentally Regina lives in that world as well. That could be the case. I mean, we're so in the dark as an audience here. I feel like I have the general gist of it, but the specifics of what will happen, there's like no telling really. It does feel like this with this show, I'm like, especially these like final 3 episodes, I'm like just understanding what's happening, and then something else has happened, and I'm always just like just about catching up with my understanding of everything that's going on, you know what I mean? Is like I'm just about keeping up, but not really. I can definitely see, you know, all of this just being like too much for some people, and they're just like watching it and just like, yeah, I'm just gonna see what happens. Hopefully I can understand it and get it explained to me. I feel like I'm just about understanding everything, but not quite, and maybe not quite to its like fullest extent. And it definitely feels like, you know, on a rewatch, there's so much more you can gain from this, knowing Claudia had been manipulating all of this time, knowing about all of the connections, the family connections, things like that. I feel like this is a show that on a rewatch you can really gain a lot from it as well, you know, not even in the way that, you know, some shows and movies you can rewatch them because there's like references and like foreshadowing and things, but it feels like this, a second watch almost feels like watching it for a first time again. It's almost like a second watch is necessary to understand everything. I don't know. Hopefully, you know, this final episode, I'm guessing they're going to be wrapping everything up. It does feel like this episode was wrapping everything up, you know, we're seeing a lot of the, you know, they call it the pieces are in the right place. It is like all of the puzzle pieces are in the right place. We're seeing them, the puzzle like put together, we're seeing the puzzle pieces go into the right place. We're getting these little gaps filled, like with Celia being the girl from the future, being the mother of Hanno and Agnes, sorry. And, you know, we're seeing the picture develop, but then there's part of the picture that we don't even know exists yet, you know. We're seeing the puzzle pieces being put into place, but simultaneously we don't know how many puzzle pieces there are, and we're gathering this new information with Claudia and what Claudia might be up to here, the ending there, her manipulating everything. So even though we're getting all of this knowledge, there's still so many things we don't know. We think we're seeing the full picture, but the picture is much bigger than we think. And, you know, the families, they're so like interconnected now. It's almost like you forget how interconnected they are when Hannah shows up with Celia and she's like, this is your sister. I'm like, oh yeah, of course. Yeah, Celia is Jonas's sister. That means that Jonas is uncle to Noah and Agnes. But you just kind of get like so lost in it that those like simple connections, it's like, yeah, so he's technically uncle, and there's so many characters that are like Marta is technically the aunt of Jonas, you know, and then they have a kid. It's like we see this web of connections, but like you forget, like, yeah, this connection there, that's called an aunt. This connection there, yeah, they're siblings. This connection here and there, they're connected in that way. It's just this huge intertangled web of everything. Every character is connected in some way, it feels. And then with Hannah, we see the end of Hannah. Adam, Jonas, her own son, is the one to kill her. I could like see it coming with just how unemotional he was with her, and then him going into the bedroom at night. But yeah, it's a sad end for Hannah. I know, you know, her characterization, there's a lot of things that she does that are very selfish, but still in that moment you can still feel for her, still feel pity for her. I'm not like, yeah, she's dying. You know, a lot of people have said like, oh, she's the villain of the show, but I'm not like celebrating her death there. I still feel for her, even though she's acted in like selfish ways and it has screwed up things in timelines, and like she screwed over Ulrich, is not like I'm super resentful against her or anything. It's almost like a bit of a pity. She's always trying to have control over her own life. It feels like everyone, that's another theme of this show, trying to have control, and you're not. You're actually, no one's in control because the flow of time, that's, you know, kind of Adam's whole ideology. He wants to be free from that flow of time, free from that control. You know, she's trying to have control over what she wants, the men she wants, and her life. And then she ended up with Egon, she ended up with Ulrich, she's come back. And then, so Eva must have come to her. She would have had the time machine, so then travelled here to find Jonas, her own son, and talk to him. So I wonder why. I guess Eva wants this to happen, so Eva sends Hannah back here because Eva knows that Adam will do this, and that sets everything up into the right places again. All the puzzle pieces are going into the right slots, you know. But yeah, like Hannah's death, that isn't one like I'm celebrating. I feel like none of the deaths in this show are. I don't think any of these characters are two-dimensional like that. again, I can't remember what episode it was, but they said not to think of things in good or bad, black and white. Every single character is so three-dimensional, they're so rich, all the characterization of these characters. One thing I liked about this episode is, they do experiment with the filmmaking a bit, and I like the way they did the title cards for the times in this episode, where it's like one of those flip clocks, and it's just showing exactly where we are, scrolling through the years to show where we are at the moment. I feel like that's definitely necessary for this one. A lot of the time in the show, you can tell through the set design, I don't know if they put any filters on the cameras, or they do like color grading, it seems, to portray different timelines as well. You could see with like 1888, when Celia shows up, you could tell it was there with like, I feel like the reds are a bit rustier there with the flowers in that field that she shows up in. Then of course in like the post-apocalyptic ones, they're like super grey and dull, so it makes a lot of sense. You can tell where each is, and like with 86 it's got a bit more of like a yellowy hue, but with this one it definitely felt like this episode is necessary to do that, to show, because we are like jumping about so much, and we're not jumping about within the 33-year constraints. It's not like a 33-year jump every time. We are like fully just going into all different parts, because it's kind of re-showing the cycles. We are reliving a full cycle in this episode, like an accelerated cycle, which is a really cool concept for an episode. So I think that's everything. Thank you for watching. Very excited for the next episode. Obviously the finale is coming up. I'm especially excited for whatever the montage is going to be. I'm sure there's going to be a montage in there, and it's going to be spectacular. But I just don't have a clue where this is going as well. So it's really exciting, the possibilities of this. So thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this. If you did, consider leaving a like or a comment. And if you really loved it, be sure to subscribe so you can keep up to date on all of the future uploads. So yeah, thanks for watching. Bye.